Count Saint Germain is a complete anomaly, it being unknown whether the man's origins are human or alien. Count Saint Germain has claimed to be a collector of the paranormal, dedicating his seemingly long life to researching and capturing supernatural entities, both yokai and alien alike. While not much is known about the anomaly in the series, Count Saint Germain is a direct reference to an actual human in history who is heavily tied to some of the earliest forms of the occult and secret societies. In real life, the Count of Saint Germain was an infamous English adventurer from the 1700s. He was known for taking on multiple identities depending on the land or people he was visiting, and would often make impossible claims such as being over 500 years old. He was recorded as one of the greatest philosophers to ever live, and became well known due to his often ludicrous interests and ideas in the categories of science, alchemy, and the arts. The Count's true name and identity were never revealed, and anytime he did appear in history, it was under a new name, moniker, or background. According to some legends, he was a man blessed by God, left to wait on earth eternally until the second coming of Jesus Christ. Whether this Count Saint Germain is an immortal and has been drifting through the universe as a collector his whole life, or he was a man cursed by Jesus Christ, or some other entity to walk forever until locating the Dandadan, Count Saint Germain's dedication to his cause borders on the obsessive. The anomaly was first introduced alongside the space globalist Kerr Empire, a race of aliens who ruthlessly wage conquest on any planet they lay eyes on. And for such hostile beings to ally themselves with Count Saint Germain, it says a lot about his intentions, as well as his own strength. The man's lack of morals are apparent in the people that he manipulates, all in service of Germain's personal gain and acquiring more relics for his collection, taking advantage of vulnerable teenagers such as Kokiyuki Shiro, an attention-starved girl whose own parents thought she was a failure, or a quiet salaryman whose wife, his only friend, was on the verge of death from incurable disease. Count Saint Germain offers a solution to these people's problems, almost always with no intentions of following through on those promises, at least as far as it can be seen. In the Danmanra arc, where the protagonist battled against the fairy tale card yokai, Count Saint Germain gifted Unjizuma with one of Okarun's Kintama, instructing him to invade the cursed trunk that housed the fairy tale card, and deceiving Unji into inadvertently freeing it from its prison. Once coming to collect the prize, not only does Count Saint Germain feign ignorance in making a contract with the fairy tale card yokai in the first place, revealing that Unji was literally just a middleman that Germain tasked with doing his dirty work. When all was said and done, Count Saint Germain simply erases Unjizuma's memory, leaving Unji with no recollection of who set him up in the first place. This is a common occurrence in interactions with Count Saint Germain, as well as his alter ego, Mr. Sanjome, the persona Germain takes on when interacting with the protagonists at their high school as a teacher and president of their occult club. All characters who find themselves manipulated by Germain are unable to remember the man's name, appearance, or even how or why they know him. The husband, whose wife was sick, admits despite believing the perpetrator to have worked alongside him for years, suddenly, all those memories are blank. This memory manipulation ability seems to not only allow Count Saint Germain to erase memories of him interacting with these people, but also insert completely fabricated memories at Germain's desire, explaining why, despite never being present before, something even the protagonist mentioned when meeting Mr. Sanjome the first time, the man is able to assimilate into Dandadan's high school as a teacher that supposedly has always worked there, and all the faculty have fond memories of working with him, even inviting him out to social mixers because he's so modern and hip. It's unknown if this is even Count Saint Germain's own power, due to the massive arsenal of yokai abilities and alien artifacts he has collected over the centuries he's presumably been alive. Count Saint Germain is able to control all of these different stolen spirits with the power of the Asura Blade, an ancient sword used in the earliest days of Japanese society, said to curse the wielder of the blade with a life full of non-stop killing, forcing them to kill for eternity, fighting until their very last breath is drawn. And to ensure that the swordsman would be able to kill all of their obstacles and the master swordsman that may stand in their way, the Blade of Asura was said to take on the powers of different yokai in order to aid its user in battle. It was originally sealed long ago by an order of magic users due to its overwhelming power, But about 5 years ago, the Sword of Asura was stolen from its shrine, meaning this hunt for Dandadan started sometime around then as Count Saint Germain's first heist, or it was one of the many objects on his path to Dandadan, and his journey started ages ago. Count Saint Germain not only seems to wield a katana, potentially the actual blade of Asura itself, in combat, but he has shaved off its steel and created countless daggers with the material in order to store the stolen abilities in a separate vessel. This is so Germain can gift these daggers, named Kuka knives, to his followers, allowing them to tap into the strength of the specific yokai without any prior spiritual experience. Ordinary humans like Kokuyuki Shiro are able to conjure endless hordes of pygmies. Teachers like Miss Adachi can summon mobs of Chinese vampires that know martial arts known as Jiangshi, and salarymen can transform themselves into indestructible iron bowls with hot groins. With just one prick of a white Kuka knife, Count Saint Germain can grant an unsuspecting human life-changing abilities, as well as guide them towards stealing even more powers without ever having to get himself involved. This is done with the black Kuka knives, where after a single condition, the losing party's admittance of defeat is met, the dagger can tap into the Asura Blade's power and absorb the target's abilities on contact. Count Saint Germain is also able to tap into these stolen powers himself, as seen in his short battle with the Fairy Tale card. By injecting vials of power into the Asura Blade, Germain can utilize those stolen yokai's abilities on a level that might even exceed the original spirits. After he takes the Fairy Tale card's power, Count Saint Germain is able to conjure an additional 2 cards that the yokai was not able to manipulate before, utilizing the initial skills of corrupting minds with the face card, as well as erasing one's mouth, eyes, or ears with the respective symbols, but also gaining the power to supposedly bind or even erase a target's hands and feet as well. It's unknown if the yokai was just not at full power yet, or if Germain really can surpass the original owner's capabilities, but at the very least, it does seem Count Saint Germain is restricted to only using one of these vials at a time, needing to swap them out from a small holster located on his katana in order to switch between the yokai powers. So far, Count Saint Germain has only revealed 3 yokai powers he's stolen, not counting the Fairy Tale card as the 4th. But based on the 20 or so different vials that can be seen within his coat jacket, it should be assumed there are countless yokai that Count Saint Germain is able to channel. The yokai we have seen include Jumping Crone, a relative yokai to Turbo Granny that is said to jump 100 kilometers per hour opposed to running, and by tapping into this vial, it boosts Count Saint Germain's aerodynamics and allow him to jump higher and faster, as well as conjure platforms beneath his feet similar to Dante from Devil May Cry to double, triple, and quadruple jump through the air. It's assumed Count Saint Germain can no longer use this power due to gifting the yokai to Heisei, Okarun's bully. Germain has also shown off the yokai Black Hair Cutter, discharging black lightning from Germain's blade as he slashes through opponents, and Water Tiger, a yokai that massively increases Count Saint Germain's weight and density, ensuring his feet plant firmly on the ground and cause large quakes in the earth beneath his landing. By weaving a mix of these different yokai vials together to match any obstacle that gets put before him, Count Saint Germain was able to keep pace with even an extremely powerful yokai like the Fairy Tale card. The mysterious man seemed to be a master of Iaido's sword style, able to unsheath and resheath his blade between strikes without struggle. Germain was also strong enough to slash right through the Fairy Tale card's tendrils without issue, compared to the protagonist who required their all-out strength to even begin to compete. And even while Germain's eyes were banished by the Fairy Tale card, the mysterious man showed almost precognition level of agility and reaction time, effortlessly cutting down and dodging all of the Fairy Tale card's attacks despite being blind. Although Germain admits he might not be able to defeat the yokai himself, this is not really because he's less powerful, but more so because the card's defeat conditions require a party of 2 or more. The arrival of Okarun and Rokuro Serpo on cue in that moment, making it even harder to believe this entire event was not orchestrated down to the detail by Count Saint Germain. And while this could just be brushed off as great instincts on Count Saint Germain's behalf, the amount of moving pieces and outright plot manipulation he's responsible for still imply an insidious level of cunning and forbidden knowledge. The mysterious man has shown an extreme level of intelligence, meaning it's impossible to discount any possibilities with him. Germain's level of wit excels both on and off the battlefield as a quick thinker, as well as a long-term planner and emotional manipulator. Germain was knowledgeable enough to make use of the paralyzing black talismans that were on the field during his fight with the fairy tale card, and was more than aware of Okarun's possession by Turbo Granny, even asking Takakura to participate and utilize his yokai powers to aid Germain in battle. Count Saint Germain seems to know exactly where our protagonists are at all times, having his followers attempt to hijack their supernatural powers at their weakest and most vulnerable moments, all the while maintaining his innocence as Mr. Sanjome, the weird professor. The mysterious man seems to have a fascination with weird facts and interesting philosophies, as in his off time, Count Saint Germain seems to research the most minor details until he can't learn any more. Whether this is because he genuinely seeks the knowledge or feels some form of compulsion, Count Saint Germain even weaponizes this information he learns in order to force his targets to yield and fulfill the Kozuka Knives conditions while they're none the wiser. This is shown when Count Saint Germain engages Okarun in an intellectual debate non-consensually, and after talking the teenager's ear off and Okarun politely admits quote-unquote defeat so we can exit the conversation, had Okarun actually been connected with Turbo Granny at the time, he would have accidentally relinquished all of his ownership over the yokai. While possessing some level of decorum, as well as a dignified personality, Count Saint Germain's quirkiness pokes through in his weird manner of speaking, as well as Mr. Sanjome's awkward attempts at using modern slang or phrases. But underneath all of this is a cold-hearted and determined collector of the paranormal, willing to step on and even betray whoever stands in the way of that ultimate goal. Count Saint Germain will form alliances and then break them the moment they become inconvenient, as well as coerce vulnerable beings to do his bidding, all the while knowing he never intends to make good on the promises he offers. As long as it means discovering the Dandadan, Count Saint Germain will do whatever it takes. The man is an enigma, and judging on the upside-down triangle seal he bears on his coat, similar to the symbol seen worn by both Ludris the alien and Kashimoto, Psycho Ayase's accomplice, Count Saint Germain may be much more entangled in the world of humans and aliens than we can even begin to understand. One thing's for sure though, anyone who emerges directly from the gates of hell themselves can surely be up to no good.